From the Wetlander to the Highlander, it's Sweet Child of Time with your time-related recaps. You know, we've done Wheel of Time and 1899 and all that stuff. Now we're on to the Highlander, the series. Today it's Season 1, Episode 15. This episode is called For Tomorrow We Die. I am Steve Barnes, your sanctuary protector, keeping things nice and clean around here. And let me introduce to you the number one bendejo of Chicago. It's James McCullum. Ahoy there, James.
Ahoy. Thank you for finally getting my title correct.
I mean, I wanted to give you like a nice proper Highlander title, but you know, you picked bendejo. How was that? How is that a proper Highlander title?
Because it is... if you look at the Letterboxd reviews for, I think that's the second or the first or second movie where he says that, the first one, a lot of them are just like, wow, I lost my shit when Sean Connery called him bendejo. I was like, yeah, all right, I can't wait to see this. And I was waiting because I knew Jose would also lose his shit. So once it happened, we were like, oh my God, what the hell? But Jose did not know what was going on. He didn't know beforehand, I should say.
Oh, gotcha. It's a little surprise to him. Surprise to me as well that word starts with a P and not a B. I've always said bendejo, but it's spelled pendejo.
I can assume that I understand the Joe part.
Right. But the P and the B, I've never understood that, especially Cheech and Chong's next movie. They're saying like bendejo.
Yeah, and it rocks.
It does rock. That's where we heard that from. But anyway, I got some more news for you, James, some more rockin' Highlander news, which
all right.
You already know this because you liked my comment. But for everybody else, we have a new cast member that's joining the crew of the Highlander Reboot. It's going to be Karen Gillan. She's actually playing Heather. They've actually named her role. So she's going to be playing MacLeod's mortal love interest, Heather, just like we saw in the first movie. We had Heather there. Karen Gillan's going to be that person. She's from Scotland, so she's, more close to a Highlander than any of the rest of us. Red hair, and we know her from being a character on Guardians of the Galaxy. I want to say her name was
Gamora, right? No,
is something Aura, Ventura, Fantora.
Is she the green lady or the blue lady?
The blue lady.
Shoot, yeah, it's Gamora and Nebula, maybe.
Nebula, there you go. Okay, so we got two, of those guys from Guardians of the Galaxy here. I was thinking we should just go ahead and just continue with this Guardians of the Galaxy thing. We got Chris Pratt as Connor MacLeod. You love that, right?
No.
And then you got Michael Rooker. He can play the role of the bendejo, the Sean Connery role. Ramirez, I think.
Who's that raccoon playing?
Ritchie. The raccoon's Ritchie, for sure.
Dang, yeah, he's just running around saying, hey, guys, what's up?
I don't know the Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know what the raccoon does, but I know that he's played by Bradley Cooper. Is that right?
No, he's a little raccoon.
He's a little raccoon, but he's voiced by Bradley Cooper, is what I'm saying.
No, he's just a little raccoon, and that's who I want playing Ritchie.
Okay, yeah. So a little love-starved, loving those older raccoons.
He's loving older women. What are you talking about? Rocket Raccoon makes out with anyone, and there's no aliens besides the immortals on planet Earth. So of course he's just making out with human women.
Like I said, I don't know what this raccoon guy does, but yeah, making out with Parisian women. That's the way we go. Did I talk last time about how we made this move to Paris, and this is a Paris production? Did I already discuss this?
Yeah, at length. We don't need to go into it again.
Well, I do need to go into the last episode, though, because we skipped one episode here. Episode 14 was like the first 100% Parisian episode that the Highlander filmed. And it was like Parisian out the ass. It was like killer mimes. Somebody was at a cafe. They were like sipping little coffee cups and cappuccinos at cafes. Duncan walks out and he's carrying like a bag of groceries with a baguette sticking out of it. The women are wearing berets. I mean, couldn't be more Parisian if you asked for it. The quickening happened on the last episode. Duncan got another quickening inside of a warehouse that was full of white, creepy mannequins.
Okay.
So that's where his quickening took place. And we met this semi-bald-headed Inspector LeBrun. We met him last episode, and he and Duncan kind of clashed like they usually do. But yeah, just to keep us up, that's the only episode we missed was the Killer Mime episode. Definitely a campy one. Did you watch it?
No, of course not. I don't have time for that. When he quickened, did he go, wee?
Dude, every time, every friggin' time. That's like, I think somebody has, I know that somebody has made a supercut of all of Duncan's quickenings on YouTube, and it's very orgasmic. I think you should definitely check that out.
Orgasms, baby.
Something I wanted to talk to you about, James, and I guess this pertains to the listeners. I'm glad they're listening because they get to hear this as well. The dude who plays Duncan MacLeod, we know him as Adrian Paul. He's up there in Vancouver still, or Seacouver, as we like to call it. And he does these 3-day tours every year. Not a tour, but it is like a 3-day adventure, a sword adventure, where he himself will teach you how to sword fight. You get to go with him to all the filming locations that from the season 1, episodes 1 through 13. Yeah, hang with Adrian Paul, hang with all the other Highlander fans. We're going to have an upcoming guest, I think next time around, James, somebody that went on this journey, was hanging with Adrian Paul, sword trained with Adrian Paul, and went to all those Seacouver locations. So I'm definitely going to get Priscilla on to talk to her about her experience, because I want to do this and I want to see if it's going to be worth it.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, did you have anything before we start really getting into the main meat of this episode, James?
We did talk about James Lindsay, who I thought was the third, but is actually a junior. We discussed this man and his oeuvre of music, and Steve had never heard him.
Right.
Because of his stage name, you kind of were like, do I want to listen to this guy? I sent you some of my favorite songs. Mm-hmm. Steve, what did you think?
I'm looking at it right now because I added some of his songs to my regular work playlist because I didn't like everything I heard, but some of his stuff really stuck with me, and it reminded me of like The Cure kind of at a faster pace because he has like a real kind of like dour voice to him. Like I said, some of his stuff was a little too upbeat for me, a little too punky. I'm not quite into that as much as I used to be. But My Shadow, that's the song that I really connected with and I really dug. And I've listened to it maybe 10 times.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah. What other songs can you recommend besides My Shadow for me and the listeners? Because like this is, we're talking about a show from the 90s. And this guy was influenced by a lot of music from the 90s as well, especially like pop punk, alternative, stuff like The Cure. And I went to his Spotify page and it gave me like his top 10, most popular songs. And I pick and chose a couple of those that I liked, but I didn't know if like you had a personal recommendation.
I think my favorite song of his is I Know a Place. That's a little more upbeat, but is also sad in a sense. Don't Let Him Come Back. A lot of the singles 06 to 07, that album, I love all of them. In the Dark's great. Blood Visions, but that specific, like on that album, not the album Blood Visions. I don't like that mix and that cut, but the single version that he remastered for this compilation, Blood Visions, is so good. And then I think every single one off from It Ain't Gonna Save Me, is that or what's the name of his Watch Me Fall? I think everything off from Watch Me Fall is great.
Yeah, it looks like Blood Visions is the album that I actually enjoyed the most because that's the one that has like a full frame of his whole body and it looks kind of bloody at the bottom. Yeah. That's the album I seem to connected with the most. But yeah, the song itself, Blood Visions, not the version that's on Blood Visions. I'll check that because I've listened to the Blood Visions versions of Blood Visions, but not the other one. So I'll check that one out.
I think you would also like There Is No Sun, which is off from Watch Me Fall.
Yeah, that's not in the top 10 here, so I need to write that one down. But yeah, I like this music recommendations here. And I wish I could give you one back, but I wasn't prepared for that. Have you listened to Queen? Do you like the band Queen? Because they're featured a lot in this show.
I've listened to Queen, yeah.
I would highly recommend. Yeah.
I'm more into Rush these days. You know that, though.
That's not a bad thing to be. I like the way, like, when I just learned this recently, like when Rush I've seen Rush 3 or 4 times back in the 80s and 90s, but this is something they started doing, I guess, after I saw them. Like where Geddy Lee would start putting like weird appliances on stage behind him, like next to his amps to make you think that he was like playing out of a dryer. On one tour, he had like a time machine that he had beside him that he like put together to, just to be part of the stage production.
That's weird.
It's totally weird. You know what else is weird? The Highlander, the series. Let's get into this, James. You ready for that?
Yeah. We got some classic pickup lines in the beginning of this episode. When we get to them, I'll let you know what they are.
Yeah, hell yeah. We got Roland Gift. He's a gift to all of us. I'm loving his portrayal of Xavier St. Cloud. As a matter of fact, I was so giddy about this episode. I think it's become my number one favorite episode. It's beaten out Freefall, number 5 with Joan Jett.
Whoa.
I think it has a lot to do with that dolphin dive at the very end of the episode.
Man.
I've watched it 4 or 5 times. I made Heather watch it. Heather loved it too. It's just a banger of a scene, a banger of an episode.
It's really stupid too, because dude gets his arm cut off. He screams, and while still screaming, runs and dives into the river. And then Connor runs after him.
He does like that head first dive with his body kind of arched all funny. Mm-hmm. I mean, everything about it was hilarious, in my opinion. It was like the most fun I've had watching this show besides episode 5 Freefall. So I'm totally on board with this Xavier dude. I'm glad he's coming back. But we also had Werner Stocker, of course. He came back as Darius. This is his second episode with him. And we got Hugh DeForest Desiree. He's got a weird name. He plays Inspector LeBrun.
Not a weird name, guys. It's just French.
It's just French, but to me it has a lot of vowels, and that just equals weird. I don't know. Vowels are weird.
We get someone listening who is French, and they're like, no, even in France, that is a weird name. It's like someone in the United States being called like Pencil Shaving McCullum III.
And we all agree that's an odd one.
What's your middle name? Shaving? Okay. I guess I'm just going to call you Pen. All right. Okay.
Yeah. Even back, I'm getting ahead of myself, but even back in the old war scene in this episode, the flashback episode, they were still calling MacLeod Mac. That's been like his nickname, I guess, for centuries now. Yeah. And Ritchie's picked up on that.
And because we're on it, the flashback scenes, that the garb that Connor is wearing is as funny as when Wishbone would be in a period piece. And it's like, that dog's dressed up like he's from Shakespeare times. Well, that's funny. This dude has a fake mustache. It's just, no matter what period he's in, he is funny. Besides maybe in Scotland, when he's just like, hey, I'm a guy in Scotland.
Right. That's a little too normal. You missed the Russian episode. There was an episode where he flashes back to when I guess he was Russian, because he's like all in Russian garb and he's speaking with a Russian accent. And I didn't know that he turned Russian at one point, but he did. He's done it all.
I think when you've lived like 500 years or whatever, you gotta move around, you know?
Yeah. Especially if you want to change your identity, which Duncan MacLeod does not change his identity from century to century. He's easy to track down. In previous episodes, we always talk about the villain of the week. And of course, we got a villain this week too. It's Xavier St. Cloud. But we're going to start seeing, I think beginning with the last episode and continuing here, the love interest of the week. That's going to be whoever Ritchie's hooking up with.
Whoa.
This week it's Renee, and she does not blink. That was really unsettling to me, because every time they would show Renee, she had those big, beautiful eyes, and they would never, ever blink. And that kind of was unsettling to me a little bit.
That might just be an editing thing. Maybe they like, just here's the edit point. Well, the frame afterwards, she starts blinking.
I mean, I thought that too, but then I thought with those big, beautiful eyes and those lashes, maybe like a nice slow blink would be like, appealing, visually appealing, but they don't go that way.
There are times when I'm like, yeah, maybe we should do this as a video podcast. And when you said a slow blink, you just blinked and held it for a long time. You just closed your eyes and then opened them.
I mean, I'm a visual guy, James. You know this. I'm always like throwing my hands at the camera when I'm talking, and everybody's missing that part.
If that's what this actress was doing, I understand why they cut around it.
Sweet Shot of Time is brought to you by Zencastr. Zencastr is the way we record Sweet Shot of Time. We hook up with our guests via video, and we record it on audio. Recently, we've been doing video podcasts with the cast of Time Bandits. It's easy using Zencastr. You can record video or audio. You can also edit your podcast or your video via Zencastr. Join Zencastr using my promo code SweetChildOfTime and you can get 30% off Zencastr. If you're ready to start your podcast, it's time to share your story. Share it with Zencastr. That promo code once again, SweetChildOfTime at Zencastr.com. All right, let's go scene to scene here. We got way ahead of ourselves, which is okay. Yeah, our first scene here of For Tomorrow We Die, Xavier St Cloud, aka Roland Gift. I didn't give him a proper introduction. Let me pause. He's the dude from the Fine Young Cannibals, lead singer. He looks exactly the same in this episode as he does in the She Drives Me Crazy video. There's no mistake in this guy. Like the minute I saw him, I recognized him from the Fine Young Cannibals. And I love it when they get rock stars on this show. I don't know. He has done some acting prior to this, but he really gave it his all. He was like screaming and a lot of exaggerating movements, doing his own stunts. It seems like he really was seriously into this role, and it showed.
I was expecting this to be someone who is in sword fighting or has that background because the end fight was good. It wasn't like the first episode where Steve was like, I think we're just going to get nothing but shit sword fights this entire series. But then they're like, hey, the villains maybe we should prioritize that a little bit more than, let's stunt cast them. Let's try to get a big name in for this sword fight. But is Adam Ant in this at all?
Oh, God, I wish he was. I don't think he ever showed up, but he'd be perfect for this, especially if he flashes back to the pirate days and like him and Adam Ant on the board of a ship fighting. That'd be wonderful.
I asked because we were watching a movie called Spellcaster, and then the end villain is Adam Ant, and I'm like, okay, all right. And then I was like, is he an actor? And yeah, he was in a bunch of shit.
Yeah, that'd be great if he was in here. I do not think he made it in here because I've already looked at like a list of all the rock stars, and he was not. That would have definitely caught my eye because I was an Adam Ant fan. But yeah, that says a lot for the stunts of this show too, is how it's obvious that it's Roland because there's like these wide angle shots where you can see their whole body. The action is really easy to follow too because I've really been anti-action for the past decade and a half or so. Just because it's been overdone and it's being done so fast with fast editing and special effects. So I really like this old school acting and old school stunts of this show. And especially this episode, we see a lot of just really neat scenes that are really subtle that you couldn't do in any other way except for practical effects. But let me go back to Xavier St. Cloud. He strolls in from the Paris streets to the antique shop right at closing time. He asks for a pendant, does some light flirting with the proprietor. She flirts back. He then drops a poison mustard bomb, gives her one last kiss, and everybody drops dead, including Xavier. But because he's an immortal, he's totally okay. He gets up, doesn't even lose his fedora. He lets in his accomplice and then lies to his accomplice, is like, it's okay to take your mask off. The accomplice removes his mask, drops dead on the spot, tells Xavier, I'll see you in hell. And Xavier says, probably. James, I hate these last minute customers coming into the shop.
Oh, yeah. I had one that frustrated me so much. They came in, I was like, there's 10 minutes. Then another person came in, I was like, hey, there's 3 minutes before we close. So, and I said it loud enough for the other people to hear that. And then they were doodling around. I cranked up D aside to be like, get the fuck out of here. They were into it, unfortunately.
Oh, God.
And then finally, they come up. They're like, hey, I'm going to get this. And I'm like, awesome. I ring them up. I say it's going to be this much. And they're like, wait, hold on. I got to find something else. And then I was like, it's now 4 minutes after close. And then he's like, okay, no, I'm just going to get that. And then the other one comes up and I say the price and they say, hey, could I get my sister's discount? And I knew it was the manager's sister. And I said this like that, leading up to the reveal. And my manager was laughed so hard. It was like, I am going to talk to him and make sure he never does that again. Yeah, they were very upset with their brother. But yeah, it baffles me. Sunday there was someone, but luckily he already had stuff behind the counter. So I was like, dude, it's 7. We're closing right now. But he wanted a $100 comic. So I was like, yeah, I'll sell you this $100 comic. It put us past the $2,000 mark that I wanted us to be for that day.
Yeah, just like these guys, they try to close up 5 minutes early. You know, the security guard is like, "Hey, nobody's here. Let's go ahead and do this early thing." Mm-hmm. I've never worked at in a retail place, with the exception of Lowe's. Most of my experiences is in restaurants. About 5 minutes to closing time. You know, when we were working at restaurants, Applebee's and Stuffy Subs. Mm-hmm. You don't just wait till you're closed to do your cleaning duties. You do those when you have time ahead of time. So especially if the place is not busy. And then, you're ready to close. And then that dreaded customer comes in 2 minutes to close. And they're not just going to get a comic and leave. They're going to get food, and they're going to sit down, and they're going to make a mess. And their kid's going to throw crackers all over the floor. It's, it's maddening, James. And Xavier St. Cloud is just like these folks. He's coming in last minute, but he's got nefarious plots, though. I think he's got a better reason for coming in late than those folks that came into your comic shop looking for a discount.
Yes. And the reason makes more sense of why he's coming in at that time. I don't think it's a better reason.
It's a legit reason. He has a plan in mind. It's a murder plan, but he does.
He does have a classic pickup line, which is drops a poison smoke bomb, then drops them panties.
Oh, no. It happened too, man. She liked this guy. She liked him a lot.
And another classic pickup line, I lied, you're dead.
Simply put, Roland, you got it. So next up is Darius. He's in the confession booth, and he senses another immortal is nearby. It's Xavier. He comes in to confess. He's only confessing just to torture Darius. That's the only reason he's doing this. He knows that Darius is not going to disclose this information to the police, although he could. I mean, okay, Xavier St. Cloud, he killed 6 people, and he told Darius that, and he told Darius, I will do it again. Just saying that is reason enough to give the information to the police, right?
That's what I wrote down of, isn't a confession the same rules, I think, as therapy, where you can't disclose anything unless it is them detailing harm on themselves or harm to others.
Yes.
But, the Catholics, they might not, or let's not say the Catholics, the Catholic clergy and the system they live in are like, no, man, we got to respect all confessions. We're never going to say a word about any wrongdoing whatsoever.
I mean, Darius could definitely spill the beans here. He does not. He's holding true to his code. Some people hold on to their codes more tightly than others, and Darius is a true code clencher. The girl in the beret at the beginning, did you catch that her mom stole her boyfriend? And Darius is like, that's not a sin, but it is kind of uncool.
I did like how, what's the guy's name, the evil guy?
Xavier.
Xavier says, oh, I bet you hear Connor MacLeod's confessions, and then Darius goes, oh, I hear MacLeod confess all night long. And then he has a picture of Connor, and he gives little kisses to it.
Oh, yeah, baby. Well, here we got Inspector LeBrun on the case now. One of the dead of those 6 people that died in that shop was a known criminal named Francois. So the police are going door to door, and one of those doors is Darius's church door. So MacLeod shows up there to play some chess. He's a real gamer. He loves these board games. Darius is, of course, tortured by the secret of the Xavier confession. And LeBrun, the inspector, he's surprised to see MacLeod. He recognizes MacLeod from the last episode in the killer mimes and stuff. It's really clear that Darius is hiding information. It's really clear that somebody saw Xavier go to the church. The video camera caught everything. They caught Xavier coming back to life. Everything is there, but Darius still will not talk. So LeBrun is like, this is on your head.
Darius is dressed more like a chess-playing monk and not a chess-playing priest, right?
Absolutely. I thought the same thing, too. Those brown robes look really monkish. I always thought the Catholic priests were all into, well, I don't know if he's a priest or not, but he's clergy. I thought they were all into white and purity and stuff, not brown.
Well, no, not white. Maybe this is a French thing, but, that guy who says, Fire con Dios on King of the Hill, you know?
Not familiar.
You never watched King of the Hill?
Well, I mean, I've watched it, but not like intently or anything.
Okay, it's they have the little collar that's white, and then there's black on it, and then it's just like a black robe.
Sure, yeah, okay. I think I'm getting my. I'm thinking about like when I go to church I don't go to church very often, but usually it's on Easter and everybody's all wearing white and bright colors then. So I think that's what I'm thinking of probably.
Okay, that's weird that you on Easter even go.
Well, I mean, I got to admit, I haven't been in years. I usually just follow the family when they go. But yeah, it's like you go for the big ones. You go for the big holidays. Or at least that's what we do anyway. I don't know. But whatever.
I say, I'm going to sleep in, guys.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay. So we're still at the scene with with Duncan and Darius. They're playing chess. LeBrun is there trying to get some answers. Duncan does his little memory thing. He looks at the wooden cross and he has a memory of the war. So he and another one of his medics are in the war and they're at an infirmary where all the sick people are. But for some reason, it's Xavier. That's the reason. Xavier is attacking the hospital instead of like the war because he's after the paychecks. Somebody says something like, we're all getting paid today. So Xavier's coming in there. And he's got the same yellow poison mustard gas. Duncan jumps to action to try to rescue them, but he does not. And you mentioned the cool mustache. And yeah, I couldn't help but notice that mustache was about to fall off any second now.
Yeah. They should have done it sleepaway camp style, just like drawing it on with shoe polish.
Hell yeah. Or a Sharpie would work. Everybody is knocked out. Everybody's dead with this mustard gas. And Xavier shows up with his gas mask to steal the supplies. Duncan comes to, and these two immortals, sense each other. And Duncan's laying there on the ground with his neck out and getting ready to get his neck chopped off by Xavier. Xavier even says there can be only one.
That neck is asking for it.
Exactly, man. It's a prime visualization of asking for it.
That neck should have been wearing a turtleneck if it didn't want it, okay? That's gross. I feel bad for saying that.
Well, the immortal soldiers show up, so they save Duncan from all that. Oh, somebody says at one point, don't be a hero. I wrote that down for some reason because that reminded me of something back in those Stuffies days, James. I'm not trying to like aggrandize myself at all. That's not the point of this story. I was working at this sub shop called Stuffies, and a lot of, unsavory wannabe gangster types would always be hanging out in this shop. And so I worked there with my girlfriend who eventually became my ex-wife, my ex-girlfriend and my ex-wife. And one of these guys, Danny, was like hitting on her hard and like just being a real jerk about it. So I stepped in and I was like, dude, I don't even remember what I said, but I was like, back off. Don't be like that. It wasn't even threatening. I was just said something to him. Danny said to me, he said, what are you, a hero? And that diffused the situation 100% because his friends started laughing. Christy started laughing. I started laughing.
Good.
Suddenly it was a comedy skit and it was great. I mean, it was threatening and then it was just funny. I loved it.
They're like, wow, man, you're such a lame ass. What are you, a villain in an 80s movie? Shut up, Danny.
I think that's exactly how the conversation turned, as everybody made him the villain and me the hero. So it was great. Speaking of heroes, Ritchie, the sex hero. He's back at the boathouse. You got Ritchie and Tessa. They're talking about Ritchie's new girlfriend of the week. He runs off to meet her, kisses Tessa goodbye before he has a chance to tell Tessa the name.
Well, real quick, he says that this new lady is sweet, smart, sexy, like you. And he says that while Tessa is molding what could only look like a bunch of scrotums out of clay, like just a blob of scrotums. It's wild for him to be like, hey, smart, sweet, sexy, just like you, as she's molding scrotes, That's our boy. He knows what he likes, He knows what he likes. He likes women just like that. Her with her scrotes, she's having some trouble with those scrotes, James. She's having trouble securing some pieces for her show. She wants to do like a 17th century
African art exhibit. Xavier shows up just in time to offer a piece for this show. He's disguising himself as another dude. He has a Fantee queen, I should say, from Ghana. Guana? I don't know how to say that word. So yeah, he kind of saves the day with this piece for Tess, or so she believes. The scene kind of ends with us wondering, like, hey, is everything going to be okay with this? Sure enough, the next scene, Tessa's just fine. Duncan shows up to get his tuxedo cleaned. He just came for the speedboat, and that's pretty much all we got for that scene. Anything I missed there, James?
Real quick, do they live on a yacht?
They live on a barge is what it's called.
Okay, all right.
So it's basically a large boat, and they have a smaller boat that's attached to it that they use to like zip around the canals and stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
That's real stupid, but okay, guys.
I mean, it's French. You know, the French ain't American. They're French. They do what they got to do.
Maybe that entire river is holy ground for some reason, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, no one's gonna come attack us here."
That's not a bad thought. Did you see that big obnoxious like sun decoration that was like in the living room? It was very predominant with all those big sun rays like made of iron coming out of it.
No.
But anyway, it caught my eye immediately because I used to have that exact same piece in my living room when I was like in my 20s. And it was gigantic and it was hard to move around and it was heavy. And I don't even know why I had it, but I had it for years before I finally got rid of it. So, yes.
It's because you saw this.
You know, that actually could be true because this was around the same time that I had that this episode was aired. So that could be true.
Like these days, people get high, and when they wake up, there's an Amazon package, and they're like, "Wait, when did that get? Why did I order this?" This is you, like you're at a like home goods store, and you're like, "Holy shit, that looks exactly like from the Highlander. I gotta get this.
I gotta lug it around from apartment to apartment for years. Let's do it." I liked how Tessa, like you talk about how she's making her scrotes here. They don't do her any favors. She looks really dirty and she has these baggy overalls on that are also dirty. Her hair's all messy and stuff. She's still totally hot. Like they don't try to sex her up by any means at all in this scene, but she's still hot as can be. So
that's just the way it is for hot people.
It is. No effort needed whatsoever. All right, so Duncan, he got on that speedboat. He's sped on away. It looks like he's going to this deserted castle. It's being guarded by a couple of guards. Duncan easily defeats them. He's showing up to ask some questions of his old buddy, Deleu is his name. Deleu is like a crime syndicate boss in Paris. So Duncan's kind of hoping that he can get some information from Deleu. And I like this, the recognition because Deleu recognizes Duncan. And Duncan just says, "Yeah, that was my dad. I'm his son." Pretty easy stuff. And he doesn't have to change his name ever. He can just simply say, "I'm Duncan MacLeod the 18th." You know?
Yeah. Which I guess would make sense if you haven't seen someone in 50 years. You'd be like, "Oh yeah, you do, I guess, sort of almost exact. I guess that you could be a different person. I haven't seen that. It's not baked into my head. It's not like I've been seeing you every day." So that makes sense. But I did feel like he was just gaslighting an old man.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But I'm thinking about this as you just said that. Even though Duncan is the same age and looks exactly the same, different hairstyle, different clothes, different facial features. So, you know, he looks different enough to make this pass muster, I think.
No longer has a silly mustache.
He could if he wanted. I think he should grow that thing back. It'd be, you know, for today's standards, it would work. Guys wear mustaches like that nowadays.
And it'd be really easy to grow back. You just have to slap it on.
Slap on, slap off. All right, where are we now? Oh, yeah, so he got this information from Deleu. We find out that the guy's name was Francois, and he worked for Deleu. And Duncan just kind of stores that information away, and he gives us a surprise a little later on. We'll get to that. But first, Ritchie is going to bring his new lady friend to the boathouse. He very ostentatiously shows her the bedroom, which I always hate this in like TV shows when a guy is like, "And here's the bedroom." Like, how much more suggestive can you get?
She looks in and she's like, "There's no bed here." He's like, "Oh, well, that's like, it's aspirational."
We pretend there's a bed there. We do bed stuff on the floor.
we all got pretty drunk and we're like, let's use the boat as a flotation device down the river. And yeah, guys, it sunk pretty quick, okay?
Yeah, Tessa's there. She's hiding on the couch. She pops up, and it's pretty obvious that she and Renee are not friends. Ritchie is he's really bad at picking up these clues because there's a lot of like antagonistic just vibes between these two women. And it turns out that, Tessa knows that Renee is married, and she knows that Renee is cheating on her husband with Ritchie here. She's kind of mad about this, and she decides that she wants to make Duncan give Ritchie that news. Put it off on him. Why not? Oh, and this is where they make the age difference joke too, which is pretty prescient.
Yeah. Tessa goes, she's so much older than him. And then Duncan's like, you shouldn't be bringing that up. Like, I'm so much more older than you. And she's like, you know what I mean? It's different for mortals.
I don't know. I like their dialogue together. I think I like Tessa's acting, and I like her subtleties a little more than Duncan's, because I feel like Duncan gives us like the same like 3 or 4 moves every time, or the 3 or 4 different facial expressions every time. He like alternates between like goofy bewilderment, intense stare, and then, his joy face.
I mean, if that's gotten him this far for 400 years, why change it up?
I guess you're right. Yeah. Tessa could be a great immortal herself. I think she could like outshine Duncan if it came to that. I don't think she's immortal. I don't think she's died yet. We'll see in the future. Yeah. So back to Francois, the guy who died. Darius is overseeing Francois's funeral because Duncan went ahead and stepped in. He was like, I'm going to honor this guy, Francois, who died, who got tricked and killed by Xavier. Even though Francois was a thief, France has their honor code. They don't kill people. So here, he gives Francois's mom a fistful of cash as well. I think he's kind of buttering up for some information because he immediately asks her, after he gives her the money, he's like, let me ask you some questions. Asks her about if she might know Xavier. And Duncan kind of picks up the context clues and figures out where Xavier and Francois were meeting at. So Duncan decides to go to their meeting spot, and hopefully he can suss out Xavier. Easy, because Xavier's sitting there having a cup of coffee. So it's pretty simple. We get a dramatic stare down first, and this is when the real action happens. This is when I was sitting up and taking notice. Because like I said before, the action is easy to follow. So I'm not confused. I'm not wondering like where this came from or where that came from. It's a chase, and it's easy to follow. I love the scene where the Xavier pushes a guy over, and then the guy gets up, and then Duncan pushes the guy over a second time as he passes him.
Which scene where that happens? Because it happens every time one of them pushes someone over. That was a joke I was going to make, is it's so easy to follow because you're shown everything twice. You're like, wait, how did that guy who knocked that guy over? Oh, well, he got knocked over again, so it must have been the first guy.
Yeah. And then like the chef as well. The chef, like he gets some boiling hot water spilled on his butt, which, gotta love that. And he calls Duncan a tourist as he runs through, which I thought was a really funny insult for a French guy to throw at a long-haired dude. You tourist! But yeah, Xavier's ruthless. He doesn't care who he hurts along the way. I mean, based on that war scene I talked about earlier, that's absolutely ruthless if you're going to like bomb a hospital so you can steal all the doctor's money. I mean, that's like one of the worst things you could possibly do.
That's a literal war crime.
Literally. And he's running around. He's got another one of those mustard bombs in his hand. That's an important thing about this scene. And he takes it out and he threatens he throws it and he's going to kill people with it. Duncan grabs that thing and he shoves it into a concrete truck to save the day.
Yeah, he grabs that thing and shoves it. He spits
Where is
on
your
it
mind,
too. Don't
James?
worry about that. So on Death to Squids, Jose was in the military, and I asked him questions about grenades, and he's like, they are so dangerous because it's like, I think usually like 3 to 6 seconds after you pull the clip and you throw it. So like your hand's no longer on that little handle. After you throw it, it's like 3 seconds and it explodes. So he threw that I'm assuming smoke grenades are the same way.
I guess.
Like, it was around for a very long time before and I was watching in 1.25 speed, so it was even longer in real time. He throws that in, and then it, dissipates with the concrete. Also, real quick, one thing I should tell you. The show works perfectly at 1.25 speed. It no longer works at 1.5 speed, so don't watch it that fast.
I was kind of wondering, because I can't watch it in the 1.25 speed like you do, and I'm not sure if I even would, because, I'm watching Mr. Robot right now. I'm almost done with it. That's a very slow show, but I'm really getting the hang of this pace, and I really like it. It gives you a lot of time to take things in. So I'm kind of glad I'm watching it the way I am. I mean, I know that you're pressed for time. You don't have time to listen to all your podcasts. What did you say earlier you didn't have time to listen to? There was something else. You're like, I don't have time for all that.
It was watching the previous episode of Highlander.
Right. Okay. Well, maybe
I'll watch those at 2 times speed.
I'm encouraging you to go back to 1, James, but you're going to do you're a big boy. You can do what you like, but I encourage you to watch it at the speed that it was intended.
Like Fruit of the Looms or whatever. I'm a big kid now. Isn't that Fruit of the Looms?
I think that's maybe. I don't want to grow up. No, that's the Toys R Us Kids song. I don't know, James.
Oh, no, these are Huggies pull-ups. I'm a big kid now.
The pull-ups. Hell yeah. Okay. Yeah, we were a pull-up family. We bought pull-ups for Caleb at that time. Charlotte did not do the pull-ups. She just did the regular diapers. But how about you, James? What was your diaper of choice?
I think I had cloth diapers.
No way. Your mom went cloth?
Uh-huh.
You were born in the 90s as well, right?
Yeah, 91. I don't know if I was cloth. Maybe it was like a combo of both. Like, when we can get the cloth, we'll use cloth. Maybe that's why I was always shitting out in the backyard,
We tried cloth with Caleb, our first child, and it lasted like 2 days. We were like, we cannot do this. We cannot keep up. So we need to go the disposable route. So we're good old Americans over here.
Yeah, there's a infamous story where my mom just kept seeing shit in the backyard and was like throwing it over because our neighbor had a dog and she's like, this dog keeps shitting in the backyard. So she's flinging it over, and then she finally sees it outside and she's like, that damn dog shit in the backyard again. And then I, as maybe like a 1 or 2 year old, says, it wasn't the damn dog, it was the damn James who pooped back there. And then she's like, oh my God, I've been throwing human shit into my neighbor's yard.
It was really you back there doing it? For real?
Yeah.
Do you have any memories of doing that?
No, my first memories are when we like moved out of that house into the new house.
I need to talk to your mom then. That's some great stuff. I've never heard of anybody doing that before. I've never heard of you doing this before. Have you talked about this before?
I don't think so. Not this one. Maybe when my mom was on one of the podcasts, because she's been on a couple of them.
Wow, an exclusive, James. Thank you for that. All right.
You're welcome. It was that damn James.
Yeah, I'm going to get back to our show here. Everybody's waiting for us to do that. We're talking about Darius here, or at least Tessa and Duncan are. Darius has been a Buddhist, and he's been a Hindu, and he's now Catholic. And Tessa is like questioning that because it actually is kind of a weird track. Usually people go with like mainstream religion like Catholicism first, and then they go to Buddhism or Hindu. He went the opposite route. But he's not into like religion per se. He's more into helping man. He's helping people using religion as opposed to being religious himself. Some people might say that's sacrilege. I say that, he's just trying to find a job that enables him to help the most amount of people.
Mm-hmm.
So they argue about whether or not Tessa is argumentative, which we know that she is. Inspector LeBrun shows up and he's asking questions about Xavier, of course, and that whole street chase we just talked about. He has questions too, like questions such as, did you see a little boy pooping in the backyard? And Duncan said no. LeBron lets Duncan and Darius know. I'm sorry. LeBron knows that Duncan and Darius are hiding the identity of Xavier. He's not sure why, but he's positive of that. It's clear. And Duncan tries to assure LeBron that they're on the same side. LeBron says, well, you better be or I'll have your head. Duncan says, you'll have to wait in line. Hell yeah.
Oh, shoot.
So Duncan's looking for more intel. He goes back to Darius again, I think for the third time. So we get some more background about Xavier. He was a petty thief. He showed up at Darius's door because the police were going to send him to the guillotine for stealing jewelry. And so Darius has been protecting him from that moment on. I think that raises a great question, because if they had taken Xavier to the guillotine, obviously his head would have been chopped off. He's dead. Would there have been a quickening, James? What do you think?
No, unless there were immortals around.
Exactly. You got that. You got an A+, James. If Darius happened to have been in the crowd when that happened, then yes, Darius would have gotten his power. If there was no immortals around, then that power would have just been wasted. So yeah, they're talking about Xavier getting some intel, and then who should show up but the man himself? Xavier shows up to meet them because they're technically on holy ground. They could still fight here. I'm still not really 100% about this holy ground thing. Like, you could easily still punch somebody or kick them in the balls or whatever without killing them. Or maybe you could like get them in the headlock and then drag them outside of holy ground and then kill them.
I think it's a respect thing, just like how Darius was saying. He respects the traditions and customs of humans. So when you feel like you could easily be a lawless individual if you live forever, and unless your head is cut off, you will never die. I think that is a good rule to have. Even the Kurgan, truly psychotic individual, could have done that. Even the dude in the Source who was that crazy, I don't remember his name. He was a wild dude, but even he respected the holy ground thing, even though there was no reason for him to do it because he had thousands, maybe, or maybe it was just hundreds of immortals that like souls in him. He could have done it, but he didn't.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm questioning it. I'm just doing it just to be a devil's advocate, I suppose, because, you know, TV shows and especially like fantasy shows like have the rules and they stick to their rules no matter what. I remember we were watching Wheel of Time. I was telling you like Aes Sedai's never lie. They can't do it. Men's visions always come true no matter what. And, you know, you didn't give me any pushback, so I shouldn't give myself any pushback either. I guess I'm just speaking to like the most pessimistic person in the audience here and just trying to like put a good reason on why they're not doing any kind of battle or any kind of fighting whatsoever on holy ground. Even though, like you said,
I was thinking it would be cool in D&D. There's a thing called Oathbreaker Paladins, where it is paladins who have broken their oaths, but they are still able to do all the spells and shit they do, but for like other deities, whatever. That's its own thing, because a lot of people are like, oh, if a paladin breaks their oath, they shouldn't have the magic. And it's like, well, it's fucking magic. Who cares? It would be cool if there was like an oath breaker immortal who's like, I am going to fight on holy ground. I don't care. So then all the immortals are like, no, we need to suss this one individual out, and we as a team need to kill that person. We need to set our differences aside and, you know, take this dude down all at the same time. It would be cool. It's like 5 dudes as this guy's like on his knees, and they all have swords at his neck to like, you know, around it looks like a pentagram of swords, like and then they all slice at the same time and they all get quickened, so it's like it disperses this evil amongst them.
I like that, except for the fact I got to remind you that we can't have any 2-on-1, 3-on-1, 4-on-1 fights. It always has to be a 1-on-1 fight. That's another rule.
This person broke his oath. Like they're if he is not respecting the traditions, we need to make sure that we're not falling into his traps of like, he'll break the traditions, so we need to fight this as a team.
I guess, but I'm still not on board, because just because this person is breaking the rules doesn't mean that all the good guys should also break the rules. That's just my counter. Plus, I'm really waiting to see. We're only in the first season here. There's 5 more seasons to go. I'm really anxious to see some exceptions to the rule. Like you're saying, I would love to see one guy that's so evil that he bypasses the holy ground rule. I would love to see an immortal that somehow has the power to sneak up on other immortals without being sensed. I'd love to see like any kind of breaking of the rule at like a one-time deal. So I hope we see. I honestly don't remember if we see any of that, but this is just something I've been thinking about watching this. Like, I'd like to see somebody break some rules, so they got to think outside the box a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And people on like the Facebook group, whatever, you can say if it happens, but don't tell us exactly what happens.
Yeah. That's a good rule. That's correct. Speaking of good rules, we got some guy talk happening here. Some boys are talking now. Ritchie and Duncan talking about the sex talk. Ritchie is all head over heels for Renee, and Duncan breaks the marriage news to Ritchie, not very subtly at all, just spills it out there. And yeah, Ritchie is thinking that Renee is going to leave her husband for him. And everybody knows that's not the case. Ritchie's just in love with this woman, and she's not in love with him. She just sees him as a fling.
Well, all he has to do is wait a couple days, and then that old fuck will die. Am I right, guys?
You are totally right. That dude is an old fuck. You're totally right about that. When Ritchie and Duncan are talking here, another little quick sidebar. He says to Duncan, you know, sometimes I can never tell with you if you're kidding or not. That's something that I get a lot from my friends, family, coworkers, because I like to be silly and like to have fun and say silly things. But most of the time I'm kidding, but nobody can really seem to tell. It's something about my mannerisms. Is that something that you have to deal with too, James, or is it always clear whether you're joking or not?
I think we've talked about this before, because I've brought up how the owner of the comic book store does this, where it's if he is serious, he will, we're like, okay, are you joking? Because he says it in the same exact tone and manner that he does a joke. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to take everything at face value from you because you are the owner. And if you are like, oh, why aren't you getting my jokes, James? It's because I can't not take you serious, because again, you're the owner of the store.
Yep. And I think it was last episode we had the same discussion, James, so I apologize.
Apology not accepted.
God damn it. All right.
Yeah, we're just kidding.
All right, so Xavier / Gerard drops off this the 17th century African piece to Tessa, confirms the date and time, makes sure that Duncan's going to be there. And he even like has a brief moment while she has to go answer the phone so he can like reset the bomb, because he had it set for 7:00. He's like, nope, I'm going to go for 9:00 now. There's a bomb in that dang piece. And he says, I wouldn't miss this for the world. That's his last line in this scene.
And Tessa should have been like, oh, wait, no, you're an evil person, because he smiles and it's as if he's about to start going, mwah, mwah. And then she's like, oh, you can take your piece and shove it.
She's used to art weirdos, man. She's in the art world. She knows about these weirdos. So yeah, we're at the big show now. People are starting to show up in their finest. Ritchie's wearing a tuxedo, looking great. Renee and her husband show up. Ritchie is waiting for them to confront them, and he confronts them with like ultra kindness, like is really like dashing to the husband and stuff. He asks Renee for one more small moment so he can gloat and break up with her. They have like the another time, another place conversation. So yeah, this is Ritchie's heartbreak moment, I guess. This kind of wraps up that storyline. Anything else about these guys, Ritchie? Ritchie, James?
Yeah, I'm Ritchie, I guess now.
What is your personal experience of that, Ritchie? How did you come away from that, Ritchie, feeling like the bigger man, or is your heart broken now and you'll never have love again?
Hey, these dimes are a dozen, man. Am I right, guys? And with my boy MacLeod, I can pull any snatch I need. I'm exotic here in France. They're like, oh, this dumb American let me funny fuck you, you idiot.
Whoa. Damn, Ritchie.
Yeah, and I'm cool with it. I'm cool, even though, like, you know, Tessa says, like, I need something, like, serious and an emotional connection. You know, maybe she's right, but, you know, I just shove that shit to the side as I'm getting to be a side piece, you know what I'm saying? I don't care if she's married. That's on him. He should be pulling that poon. And if he's not, he's too old, he can't get an erection. Well, guess what? I'm practically a walking one of those.
Thanks for your input there, Ritchie. Let me get James back in the room. James, you still with us?
Yeah, guys, I'm over here. I'm just pulling poo, and it's James now.
Wow, you learned some moves from Ritchie. That's cool. Well, we're talking about the big event now. Ritchie is back in the back end now, and we're back at the big event. We're centered on this piece that Xavier brought. It's a little bit ugly, but it's actually a very faithful representation of an actual piece that exists in a museum. I looked it up online. I don't remember what it's called. I said it earlier in the episode, but those notes are now beyond me. So anyway, Duncan and everyone are there looking all dolled up in their diamonds and their get-ups. Professor LeBrun shows up and he's going to take Duncan downtown. He's got some questions because he found that bomb and he knows that Xavier is Xavier St. Cloud. Duncan does the thing where he's like, okay, I'll come downtown with you a minute. Just give me one moment. LeBrun's totally okay with that for whatever reason. All he does, though, is just kiss Tess goodbye. They get in the car, and as they're driving away, LeBrun is like spilling the information that he knows, and Duncan is piecing all this stuff together. Does the cool move where he decides to roll out of the car and run back and rescue the day, James.
Yeah.
That car rollout was intense. I liked it a lot.
Man, if only Beavis and Butthead had been watching Highlander, they could have known how to properly roll out of a car and do America.
The reference went past me, James. I'm sorry.
Did you never watch Beavis and Butthead do America?
I had the soundtrack because it had a Primus song on it, but I don't think I ever watched the movie.
Oh, well, they were in the trunk of a car on the highway and it pops open. They're being kidnapped and they're like, oh, if we jump and start running as fast as we can in the opposite direction, it'll neutralize how fast we're going. And they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And they just, once they hit the ground, they just start tumbling. It's really funny. Guys, check out Beavis and Butthead Do America.
Check out the soundtrack. Great original Primus tune on there.
Oh, real quick, I guess French cars don't have child safety locks.
Obviously not, especially back in the 90s. So Duncan shows up just in time, like exactly just in time, like a split second before to activate that bomb. Some people in the crowd are all like, was this just a show? Was this part of the exhibit? Because they think this is like an action art piece or something. That's not a terrible perception. Xavier sees all this go down. This was one of my moments where Xavier is like looking at his watch in his car. He's right out front of the building. He just put a bomb in this building. He's right out front. And right as 9 o'clock is about to hit, he rolls his window down so he can get a better look at the explosion. So perhaps maybe the explosion can affect him better with the window open. I would think you would not want to be in the same spot whatsoever. But
if it's just a mustard bomb, it's not going to have like a big explosion. Maybe he wants that smell to be like, oh yeah, or to hear people screaming because that's what he's into.
I didn't even think about that. I just assumed it was a bomb, like an explosion bomb. But you're right. The 3 bombs that he had before were all those mustard gas bombs. That must be what it was. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he was going to bomb the place, kill everybody, including Duncan, and then steal all that artwork, and then he'd be good to go. Okay. So anyway, that doesn't help. That doesn't work out. He goes back to Duncan's houseboat to poison him because he's got the gas chamber in his hand. He's looking for a way to get in there. Duncan's waiting, looking all super cool in that smoke with him like right in the middle of it. The fight takes place, and this is where Roland Gift just gives it all. His exaggerated body motions. He's yelling during the scene. They grapple, they parry, they leap. Xavier holds the poison overhead like he's getting ready to, I don't know what he's going to do with it, but he's holding it up over his head like he's maybe going to bash Duncan's head in with it. That's when Duncan takes his hand right off. Xavier screams. Dolphin dives into that water. Duncan dives after him to no avail. Xavier is gone. This is a badass scene, James.
Mm-hmm. And I hope he's back. He better be. We got to close up this storyline, right?
Yeah, well, the episode ends with like the foreboding, he'll be back, and then cut to gray. So, I mean, Duncan tells us straight up he's going to be back. And when Duncan says something, it's going to happen, just like men. But yeah, the chopping off of the hand of the sword fighter, that's what really got my wheels turning this episode. Like, after I saw this, I started thinking about how many other sword fighters in fantasy and sci-fi and fiction that have gotten their hand chopped off. there's 5 hugely significant one-handed sword fighters. They didn't all lose their hand in a sword fight, but there's 5 of them. And I have a question for each of them, but at first I want to give you a chance, James. Can you name some one-handed sword fighters?
Luke Skywalker.
Obvious first choice, that's right.
My guess is there's like the Princess Bride. Is there a dude in there with one hand?
There is not. If there is, I don't remember him.
Yeah, that's about it. That's all I have.
Well, here we go. I'll ask you the questions then. This fantasy sword fighter lost his right hand and then later lost all 4 of his limbs. He also had a breathing problem.
Okay. Oh, Goro from Mortal Kombat. He has 4 arms, all 4 of his limbs.
No, he lost all 4 of his limbs. He's a torso with a head, and he has a problem breathing. And he lost his right hand to Darth Tyrannus.
Okay, it's Darth Vader.
It's Darth
Anakin
Vader.
Skywalker.
All righty, and you already got Luke Skywalker. Next one. This sword fighter didn't lose his hand in a battle. It was bitten off. And he would later go on to sword fight with children.
Oh, Captain Hook.
That's it. The most famous one-handed sword fighter. All right, this sword fighter lost his hand to a fireball that was thrown by the Forsaken Semiraj. And the reason his hand came off is because he was gallantly protecting his love interest, Min. Who might this be, James?
A Matt?
Try again.
Min? I'm guessing this is book shit.
Yep.
Okay, so I have to Lan.
It's a sword fighter, though, not a staff fighter. Matt is a staff fighter.
Lan.
Not Lan. You're getting close. It rhymes with Lan. Rand al'Thor, the one-handed sword fighter. That's right.
He's in love with Min?
That's something that you missed out on. Yeah, she became his number one love.
Damn, I like that more than all of his other love interests. I don't think he would be good with Lanfear, you know? I don't think she's good for him.
Yeah, maybe not. We got one more sword fighter. You might not know this one, but maybe these clues will give you a hint. This fantasy-based sword fighter lost his hand to Vargo Hoat in the book, but in the TV show, he lost his hand to a character named Locke.
No idea.
Fantasy series, book that became a TV show, hugely popular.
Well, it's Game of Thrones, probably.
It's Game of Thrones time. That's right.
I don't know any people from Game of Thrones.
Well, I'll have to watch Beavis and Butthead Do America, and you'll have to watch Game of Thrones.
Please never watch Beavis and Butthead.
We're talking about Jaime Lannister, the one-handed sword fighter.
Okay.
So yeah, Xavier St. Cloud is going to join this elite group of sword fighters with his one hand. I know he'll be back because Duncan said he'll be back. Let's talk about the wrap-up real quick. Duncan could not find Xavier. He swam all over the place with his fake wig looking for him. Couldn't find him anywhere. Ritchie is confronting Tessa. He's being really creepy the way he's confronting her here. This made me laugh as well, just at the audacity of Ritchie to I don't know. He was talking about how passionate Renee said he was and how sexy he is. And he's like cheek to cheek with Tessa and all kissing her. And then Duncan shows up and he's like, here comes Duncan. There's Mac. I don't know. Something about this whole scene made me really question Ritchie. He's a real creep in this scene.
That's just the French way, you you kiss on the cheek, kiss on the cheek. She's French, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They had girl talk too, because Tessa and Renee were talking about Ritchie's bedroom mannerisms.
Yeah.
That's weird. That's weird for Tessa. I don't think she would want to hear that stuff.
No, she's cool with it.
I mean,
because
obviously
she's like, hey, I got to protect this kid. That's also more of an older sister role.
Yeah.
But they're not actually brother and sister. So it's yeah, I can hear about this stuff. I'm not going to probe for it, but if it's offered, I'd like to actually sort of know this, because then I can better help my friend who might be getting taken advantage of. So if she just didn't know any of it, she's like, yeah, you want to know what? They smooch, and it seems like it's just, a little fling they're having.
Right. Yeah, it is true, too. Ritchie came into this family almost if they adopted him because he was 17 and they were acting as his guardians. But it's clearly not that type of relationship anymore, where it's more like a Three's Company situation. They're roomies. They're siblings. So they're going to have fun together without any complications. But yeah, that's the last of this episode for Tomorrow We Die. The next episode we're going to be covering is going to be season 1, episode 18, The Lady and the Tiger. We're going to meet someone named Amanda, and this has been recommended to us because this is the first Amanda episode. So we'll be seeing more of Amanda, apparently.
I wonder if this is a play on the woman or the tiger, the Greek myth of, is it?
It's got to be. I mean,
okay, because I literally just read volume 1 of Absolute Wonder Woman, and the last 2 issues of that trade, the collection, is a retelling of that and how it relates to their ordeal within hell.
It's definitely got to be, because like the original story is called The Lady or the Tiger, where you have to make a choice. This one is called The Lady and the Tiger. So I guess Duncan chooses both. Hell yeah, Duncan.
Yeah, he's riding on a tiger to like save the lady. And the tiger's like, oh yeah, I'm down for this, brothers.
That sounds like He-Man. That's exactly the plot of every He-Man episode.
Man, Duncan as He-Man could have worked, guys.
But yeah, we're going to go back to work now. We're going to head out of here. So this is our exit strategy. You can always check us out at patreon.com/MLM pod if you want to join the Patreon. In our show notes here, I have all the links for James's Discord over at Marshland Media. We've got links for Lindsay's website at one of my stories, links to my website, sweetshotoftime.com. The only thing I have to promote or plug for this week or for this next few months is Lindsay and I are still working on our song. She has done her part. Now it's up to me to do my part to finish this tune. And I'll be updating everybody as it comes along. As of right now, all we have is some chords and the structure of the song. We're going to add a bunch of stuff to that eventually. James, how about yourself?
Hey guys, head over to darlinghomebody.com for my wife, aka my spouse, long-term relationship haver. All of her art and this and that. Go check it out. Buy some stuff. She's about to put out these mystery pin bags that come with stickers of the Dino Cats. So be on the lookout for that. Follow her at Darling Homebody. Proper spelling on all of that. Wherever Instagram, TikTok is found. And darlinghomebody.com to buy the merchandise. And that's it. That's all I'm going to plug this week.
Well, heck yeah. Well, from me and James, we hope to see you next time around. We release these bi-weekly. Next time will be The Lady and the Tiger. So until then, we hope you find water and shade and shoes. Ciao, baby.
Ciao.